Hello everyone, Jonathan Ralph here. Today we're going through a full overview of Portugal's Golden Visa as it currently stands right here in the middle of 2025. That's the time of recording. Portugal's Golden Visa is Europe's #1 route to a second citizenship without having to move. And in today's video, we'll run through everything that you need to know from A to Z. Or Z if you're in the UK. So, what is in store for us today? Well, we're going to focus primarily on the high-level summary, and that's going to be enough for quite a lengthy video, although there are some other supporting videos on this channel that I will refer you to for a deeper dive into certain points. We'll get started today with an overview on the Golden Visa itself, as we would typically do, what it is, why it's so popular with those looking for a second passport and also a dual nationality, and then explain how it differs from the alternatives that are available in Europe here in 2025. Once we've compared Portugal to the other options available across the European Union, we'll then look at the Golden Visa versus the other visa options that exist for Portugal and analyze whether the Golden Visa is indeed the right route for you. We'll then look at the current context by talking through the latest news. There has been quite a lot of movement in this space over the last few months. So we'll look at the impact of the latest election on the Golden Visa program, explore the outlook for the coming 12 months, and also provide an update on the status with the immigration authority, AIMA. Those are probably the biggest developments from our side. We will then dive into some practicalities, first with the process to expect for the Golden Visa, then the process to expect when moving on to citizenship later on. In my experience, most people that are embarking upon a Golden Visa journey in Portugal are doing so in order to access the citizenship later. So we'll spend a moment talking through the implications of Portuguese citizenship, the benefits, the options that it brings you later in life. By this point, we will then know if Portugal is right for you, if the Golden Visa is right for you, also the full context of the program as it stands right here in the middle of 2025, and if dual citizenship should be your ultimate goal. We will then move on to the final detail of the piece, which is the investment that underpins the Golden Visa itself. We will break this down into two distinct parts. So firstly, we will go through the rules governing qualifying investments, and then we'll talk briefly about the key considerations to bear in mind when it comes to selecting the right investment for you. And my objective here today is that by the end of today's video, you should have a strong understanding of the Portugal Golden Visa, the possibilities it brings you, the current landscape here in 2025, and as we look to 2026 as well, and then also how to access the Golden Visa in the right way for you and your family's future. Okay, with that intention firmly set, before we get started, you might want to check out my latest free PDF guide. It's called The Complete Guide to Portugal Golden Visa Investments. It's a free downloadable PDF that gives you a detailed walkthrough of everything that you need to know, essentially. So the main investment categories that qualify, key considerations as it pertains to risk, cost structures as well, security mechanisms, and a breakdown of the leading Golden Visa funds and structured investments as well that are available today. Also, how to choose between a fund and a direct investment or other alternatives, because there are other options available, and real figures as well. And that will include capital requirements and potential returns. I do include real numbers there, so that can be quite helpful as an orientation. We'll also cover everything that you need to know about obtaining Portuguese citizenship in the long term for those of you that don't want to stay to the end of today's what is scheduled to be quite a lengthy video. Now, as I mentioned, you can download this for free. The link is in the description box down below my head. And like I say, whilst it is free, I will still ask you for an email address so that that PDF can be emailed over to you. So I hope you don't mind me doing that. Okay, let's get back to today's subject, diving straight into the video. Firstly, what is the Portugal Golden Visa? Well, the Golden Visa was launched in 2012. It has since proven extremely popular as it is the most accessible route to obtaining a European passport remotely. We will go on to explore the reasons why in a second. It is an investment visa wherein you receive a residence permit in Portugal in return for a substantial investment. Now, that's usually 500,000 euros, or maybe less, and that is, of course, an investment into the Portuguese economy. There are various modalities that you can use for that. We will discuss the qualifying criteria a little bit later on. Now, as I've just alluded to, there are ways to reduce the capital requirement if you're able to structure the investment in an intelligent way. It's one of the things that we do particularly well over here. Over here, of course, being myself and my company, at least in my opinion. Now, Portugal's Golden Visa is a very popular scheme, with over 35,000 residence permits now issued since its inception. Annual case numbers are increasing pretty much every year. It's a trend that is set to continue, even in spite of semi-regular changes to the law. It's a trend that has persisted in recent years. You can include almost all of your immediate family as well, so parents and children. Generally speaking, however, siblings cannot be included. Now, our team and I are here to help advise you if you're unsure about your family members' eligibility. So do feel free to ask if you're not 100% clear on that. Do note that you must have a clean criminal record to apply. You must also, of course, be a non-EU citizen. And this is a proven and legally viable way to citizenship in Europe, specifically Portugal, even without living in the country, as citizenships have been granted to Golden Visa holders that meet ongoing requirements, and that's been the case since 2018. And finally, you may already be aware of some changes that have been taking place over the course of the past couple of years. It is important, however, to highlight that the Golden Visa in Portugal remains open. There has been some misinformation in the past few years. Most of that has been corrected and rectified, but for the avoidance of any doubt, the Portugal Golden Visa does remain open. Neighbouring Spain has scrapped its Golden Visa earlier in 2025. Many similar programs in the European Union are coming under rather sustained pressure as well. We cannot say for certain just how long this will continue, but for now, the Portugal Golden Visa will remain open to new applicants for the foreseeable future. If you don't know already, you'd be interested to know that my team has handled more than 10% of the Portuguese Golden Visas ever issued. So we really have seen it all here and navigated all the previous amendments to the program with our successful track record intact. So if you do work with us, you're working with a proven, tried, tested, trusted market leader who can speak to considerable experience. So, why is the Portugal Golden Visa so popular? And by the way, it is extremely popular. As I've mentioned, it is Europe's #1 residency by investment program for good reason. It is the only reliable pathway to becoming a European citizen without becoming a tax resident and without sacrificing huge amounts of money in the process. You only need to stay in Portugal for an average of 7 days per year to qualify for citizenship by naturalization. And it is an investment too, meaning that you can get returns on your investment as well as the passport if you do it right. So it's no wonder that the world's wealthier individuals are now adding a Portugal Golden Visa investment to their portfolio. It is not just their ticket to greater global mobility, it's also a viable part of their wealth generation strategy. Portugal is, of course, a relatively safe place to invest here in the modern world, being a developed Western European nation with a stable political system, and full citizenship is, of course, available to Golden Visa investors that hold onto their investment for 5 years and meet ongoing requirements, which essentially means average physical stay requirements of 7 days per year, being an upstanding individual with no criminal record, and also achieving a fairly basic level of Portuguese, which is demonstrated through a language test. Interestingly, forgive me for skipping ahead there. Interestingly, the level of language that you need to learn for the Portugal Golden Visa is relatively low compared to the other European options. It is A2 level, which is considered advanced beginner, so very achievable, certainly over the course of a 5-year investment journey. And that said, you can actually be exempted from the language test as well if you decide to attend a language course of sufficient length and intensity instead. That is typically 150 hours and usually done online from the comfort of home. It is now proving considerably more popular than the test due to convenience. So why is Portuguese citizenship now such an important objective for so many people? Well, if you're watching this video, it might be because you're already quite well aware, but let's just recap the fundamentals. Firstly, Portugal allows dual citizenship. This is not always the case in Europe. For example, Spain would make you renounce your current citizenship before giving you Spanish nationality, unless you happen to have a nationality from an ex-Spanish colony, but that is the vast minority of those watching this channel. Portugal, on the other hand, does allow you to become a full dual national. Portuguese passport also conveys a great deal of freedoms onto its bearer. It allows you to live, work, study, retire, open a business in any one of 27 countries across the European Union, not just Portugal, and all of that visa-free and with no restrictions. It also gives you visa-free travel to more than 180 countries around the world. Importantly, getting Portuguese citizenship does not change your tax position in any way. This is not tax advice on this channel, but it is a material fact. You will only have tax obligations in Portugal on your Portuguese assets if you are not tax resident in the country. Your worldwide income and assets will not be taxed by Portugal unless you become a tax resident in the country. Now, that is a complicated topic. As I mentioned, we do not give tax advice on this channel, but usually, as a general baseline guiding principle, that would mean essentially living in the country. Now, a Portuguese citizenship is also a fantastic gift for your family, as it can be passed down for future generations to come, giving them all the freedoms that we just outlined. It is a fantastic investment not only into your quality of life, but also the quality of life of your children, their children, your great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren, and beyond for all the generations to come, leaving a truly wonderful legacy behind. Now, bear in mind that everything that we've just spoken about is the case for all European citizenships, not just Portugal. So all passports issued by countries that are on the right-hand side of your screen there convey these same benefits to their holders. Portugal just happens to be the most accessible route to that European passport, given the favorable terms offered by the Golden Visa and the fact that you do not have to live in the country to obtain it. So, therefore, if I tell you that it does not matter which EU nation grants you citizenship in order to access these benefits, it is only right and proper that you investigate the other European options that exist as alternatives to the Portugal Golden Visa. And if you're not familiar with the other countries offering EU residency by investment, you might want to check out the video that's in your screen there, in which I break down the different options available and help you to understand the most appropriate route for you. Remember, when you are targeting a citizenship, it is not just a conversation about where you want to live in the future. There are many factors to consider. In the top right-hand side of the screen there, I will place a link to this comparison video. It's also in the description box down below me. So take a look at that if you'd like to take a bit of a deeper dive. Yes, let's keep going on, shall we? To summarize, and pulling this a little bit back to Portugal, why choose Portugal over the other options available for European residency? Now, I must stress this point that you'll see in the top half of your screen there. It does not matter which EU country gives you the citizenship. If you get a European passport, you can live anywhere in the Schengen area with no restrictions. So the question to ask yourself when looking at an investment program in Europe is not, where do I see myself living long term, or where do I see as home? Rather, it should be, which program fits my lifestyle requirements? So, with that in mind, do not choose Portugal's Golden Visa because you love the scenery, the stunning beaches, the relaxed culture, the delicious food that we have in this country, the friendliness of the locals, because they are extremely friendly some of the friendliest people you'll ever meet, or the fact that Portugal is ranked as the third most peaceful country in the world, the sixth safest country in the world, or that it has the 12th best healthcare system in the world, or 16th best education system. Wonderful points, all great virtues for the country of Portugal, but none of this matters when we're assessing what the right Golden Visa program is for you. The real reason to choose Portugal's Golden Visa is that you can get full EU citizenship for you, your entire family, and all future generations by making a qualifying investment that can generate good returns if done well, and that requires you to stay in the country for just 7 days per year over a period of 5 years. It is that simple. Portugal is a truly fabulous country, really is, but this is an investment decision, so make sure that you make that with the right reasoning behind you. Now, if Portugal is indeed the right country, for your objectives, then it's also important to understand the key differences between all of the visa types that are available. There are 6 primary visa types if you'd like to come to Portugal. However, what I've omitted from the screen here is the working visa. If you are watching this video, that is unlikely to be relevant for you. Speak to your prospective employer if you're looking to come to Portugal for work purposes. We will also ignore some of the more specialist niche visas, like the HQA, for example. These are niche cases that are simply not appropriate to the vast majority of you watching this. You can see the 5 main visa routes on your screen there. Golden Visa has been separated out to one side. The others are the startup visa, where you commit to starting a business. You have a business plan approved, also called the entrepreneur's visa, the D2. The family reunification visa, the D6, where you are married to a Portuguese resident or you are their dependent. The passive income visa, the D7, which requires just over 8,000 euros, just 8,000 euros in annual passive income. Very good and very achievable for a lot of retirees. Now, that passive income can include a pension, for example. However, it must be paid to you from outside Portugal. And finally, the D8, the digital nomad visa, which requires you to earn more than 36,000 euros per year from a non-Portuguese source. What is the key distinction here? Why is the Golden Visa on one side? It is the only visa that gives you a clear route to citizenship without committing to living in Portugal full-time for 5 years. The fees associated with the Golden Visa are higher than the other visa types, and you do need to tie up some money for at least 5 years, but it is the only visa route that gives you citizenship and allows you to keep your current tax residence, the only one that gives you the flexibility to leave Portugal and live elsewhere during those 5 years. And of course, if done right, it can also deliver a decent profit on the funds that you invest. So, obvious question then, is the Golden Visa for you? Well, if you want to move to Portugal right now, and you can commit to staying here for at least the next 5 years, then the Golden Visa is probably not for you. You may as well look at a cheaper alternative. Avoid tying up the capital so you don't need to invest the money to qualify. The D7 or the D8 are what most people would choose in those circumstances. So if that's you, I would suggest that you look here. That said, if you cannot commit to becoming a Portuguese tax resident, i.e. spending 6 to 8 months minimum every year here, then the Golden Visa may well be the one for you. You may also have zero intention of moving to Portugal at all, and just want the easiest and cheapest way to get a European passport and all the benefits that that brings, in which case the Golden Visa is also for you. Equally, if you do not want to change your current tax residence, for example, if you live in a low tax jurisdiction such as Dubai, Saudi Arabia, the Caribbean, or one of a number of others, then the Golden Visa offers you the path to citizenship without affecting your tax position. Moving on to some latest news now. Now, if you were not already aware, Portugal held elections in mid-May of this year. These were won by the centre-right AD party, the Aliança Democrática, and although they did fall short of winning an absolute majority, they now lead a new coalition government, which was exactly as the polls had predicted prior to the election taking place. The AD party have historically been considerably more pro-Golden Visa than their predecessors, the Socialist Party, so this bodes well for the future of the program generally. However, they did state an intention during campaigning to increase the physical stay requirements of the Golden Visa and citizenship. So this is essentially a reaction or a recognition of a growing sense of inequality that you may notice inside Portugal as Portuguese natives are struggling to come to terms with an increased cost of living in the country and wages that are simply not keeping pace with living costs. And to be quite frank, this is a problem being felt across much of Western Europe currently, unfortunately. That said, the AD party were rather ambiguous when they made that statement and did not propose any kind of firm action. One of the reasons for this is that, well, according to our sources at least, the new government does not see making changes to the Golden Visa program as a priority at this stage. It therefore appears unlikely that we will see major change in what remains of 2025. What's more, Portugal is historically rather ponderous, if we're kind, when it comes to introducing new legislative changes, as the political system is quite bureaucratic and new laws often have several administrative hurdles that they need to clear before they can then take effect. Despite this, though, the best advice would always be to submit an application as early as possible to ensure that you secure grandfather rights to the Golden Visa program. And by doing that, you can protect yourself from any future changes to the law and the program as they materialize. Zooming out then for a second, let's take a look at the longer-term outlook for the Golden Visa now. And as I've just explained, the threat of imminent change to the program is minimal. However, there is the risk of this changing later on in the year or as we move into 2026. Now, the reason for this is that Portugal is set to come under increasing scrutiny, further pressure from the European Union, who famously oppose the idea of investors buying their way to a European citizenship, for lack of a better term. This is because Portugal now stands alone as the easy route to European citizenship on the continent. Now, Malta's fairly often criticized citizenship by investment program has actually just been ruled as illegal by European courts, and Spain's very popular Golden Visa program was also abolished in April 2025, as we've hinted at earlier in this video, and that now leaves Portugal as the clear outlier and the obvious target for further EU pressure. That doesn't mean that Portugal will cave in, though, as the Minister for the Presidency recently spoke of a desire to make Portugal an investment destination. The Golden Visa and other similar initiatives have actually been very successful in attracting foreign direct investment into Portugal and have contributed to making Portugal a shining success story of economic development in recent times. So they're quite unlikely to give that up without a fight. What's more, Portugal does have a track record of successfully resisting EU pressure in the past, which is one of the reasons why its Golden Visa program remains to this day. Again, as per the previous slide, best practice here is to act early to submit a Golden Visa application to avoid disappointment later. So, by now, we can see just why the Portugal Golden Visa has been so attractive to foreign investors for many years. And as a result, this has led to backlogs with AIMA, the immigration authority, which has struggled with this issue since 2022. As a result, a new task force, and not their first task force, but another new one, was set up in September 2024 with the aim of addressing the issue. And they were quite serious with this one, adding 300 new personnel and 30 new service centres across Portugal. And this work is definitely having an impact, as I will go on to explain. However, stepping back for 1 second, the main culprit for the backlog itself is actually nothing to do with Golden Visa investors, not really. It's actually to do with a now closed immigration loophole, which was called the expression of interest, which allowed foreigners to enter Portugal without a valid visa and then apply for residency from within. Now, this was heavily exploited and led to a backlog of some 450,000 open residence applications at its peak. 150,000 of those cases have now, fortunately, been resolved, and many more have been abandoned by the original applicants as they have since left Portugal. So, as a result of this, the numbers as they currently stand, we're looking at a current backlog of around 120,000 active cases. Significant decrease, and good to hear. The task force did originally have an objective to fully clear the backlog by June 2025, so it has missed that target, but strong progress has clearly been made. And of those 120,000 outstanding active cases, around 50,000 pertain to Golden Visa applications. So whilst the GV, the Golden Visa, was perhaps not the highest priority for AIMA in the past, that is in the process of changing. And the Golden Visa is now switching to become one of AIMA's highest priority issues. A reminder as well, for those of you that are not aware, the AIMA president is on record back in September 2024 as saying that all applications would be processed within the established timeframes from June 2025 onwards. And AIMA's actions do appear to be backing up that sentiment, with the situation now finally starting to materially improve. So what does the process look like here in the middle of 2025? Have there been any major changes? Well, the initial steps remain the same as always. We get started by selecting an investment, performing the background checks, and signing our client agreement together. After that, we will get your tax numbers, open the bank account, and begin preparing the requisite paperwork for the Golden Visa application. All of this is done remotely, online, from the comfort of home. Next, we will complete the investment paperwork, request that you begin moving funds over to your new Portuguese bank account, and then we'll move on to completing the investment itself. Now, this takes us to roughly the 3-month mark, although for some investments this can be reached sooner. And at this point, we'll now be ready to submit the application. Once that has been submitted, you will then receive your ARI number. ARI stands for Autorização de Residência para Atividade de Investimento. Again, still working on the Portuguese for the Portuguese viewers of this channel. Again, thank you for your patience. I will get there one day. But anyway, the ARI number is then obtained, and ARI is just the technical term for the Golden Visa. So when we say Golden Visa, we essentially mean ARI. Now, getting the ARI number is a key milestone. Why? Because once your application has been submitted, you are then in the system. You then have grandfather rights if the law changes in the future. It is also at this juncture that the 5-year clock towards citizenship begins ticking. From here, it is just a matter of time before we have everything sorted and get your cards issued. To do this, we will invite you to come over to Portugal for the biometric appointment. This is the first and only time in the entire process that we actually need you to be physically here in Portugal. It takes place about a year into the process. You will have about 30 to 90 days advance notice of your appointment, and the government fees will need to be paid at this juncture. Once that's done, we'll take care of the rest. Once the cards have been printed and issued, we will have them sent out to your home address. And that should bring us to about an even 18 months, give or take, and you'll be well on your way to achieving your dual citizenship. And of course, talking of citizenship, getting the Golden Visa is usually only half the battle. Most of you watching this will likely want to convert this to citizenship later on. And the first item to highlight here is precedent. Citizenships have been granted to Golden Visa holders since 2018. As I mentioned at the top of the show, this is not new ground that we're treading. This is a demonstrably effective process. The requirements are 5 years of continual legal residence. That essentially means making the Golden Visa investment and retaining it for 5 years while staying in Portugal for an average of 1 week per year and demonstrating sufficient ties to Portugal. Now, this requires either passing a language test known as the CIPLA at A2 standard or attending a sufficient language course if exams are a problem for you. Whilst it is not a legal requirement, we do also recommend reinforcing your ties to Portugal beyond these minimum requirements just to ensure a more robust application. You can do this by joining Portuguese clubs, attending cultural or sporting events, and other activities with links to Portuguese culture. Frankly speaking, the more Portuguese influences that you can welcome into your life, the better. Note that a Golden Visa, once issued, is valid for a 2-year period. It must therefore be renewed periodically before we can apply for citizenship. Cost of the renewal is currently €84 per person, although this is subject to future change. It has changed rather significantly in the past few years, and that is in addition to a lawyer fee for processing the renewal. And after the 5-year investment holding period, once we are ready to make the citizenship application, we will then do so and apply. The citizenship application can take anywhere from 6 to 24 months to go through. Therefore, it is reasonable to assume a total timeline to citizenship of 7 years from the start of your Golden Visa journey. And at time of recording, citizenship applications are currently taking closer to 24 months than they are to 6. So I would allocate a full 2 years for that part of this process, just to be on the side of prudence. So what does the road to citizenship actually look like in practice? Well, as I've mentioned, the clock will start ticking from the date that we make the initial application. The investment is made from your Portuguese account, and then we will get your Portuguese Golden Visa case number from the authorities. And as per the previous slide, we will then ask you to come to Portugal for the biometrics, get the residence cards printed and sent out to you. The cards themselves are valid for 2 years, so after that time we will need to go and renew them. The renewed card will then be valid for another 2 years, and you need to meet the ongoing criteria to do so. Now, this is significant because that brings us to a total of 5 years, at which point we are eligible to apply for the citizenship. Please note that a second renewal may be required depending on the case in question. Remember, we can only apply for citizenship once you've passed the CIPLA language test, again, an A2 level test, not a high level, but everyone that wants citizenship does need to pass this or take the language course instead. If you go for the test route, you can take the test as many times as you like during the 5 years, even fail it as many times as you need to, but we do need that box ticking before you can make the citizenship application. And as I've mentioned, if this is a problem for you, there is that workaround wherein you can attend the language course, again, of sufficient level and length. But for most people, the test is a quicker option, although nowadays it is true that the language course is proving markedly more popular than the test, mainly for convenience. Now, after the citizenship application has been approved, once we have the passports in hand, that's when we should look to unwind the investment, return the capital to you, or follow whatever exit strategy that we have designed together. Speaking of the investment component, and that is the one major piece of the puzzle that we are yet to address, before we dive into this, be advised, real estate investments no longer qualify for the Golden Visa in any form. They did previously. This was abolished in October 2023. The viable routes for the Golden Visa in Portugal as it currently stands are the following. Firstly, through job creation, this involves creating and maintaining at least 10 permanent positions of employment in Portugal. This is a rather high risk, hands-on, high effort approach, so not a very popular route. Even less popular, however, is the donation to research activities. It is a donation, as in you do not get the money back, of €500,000 to scientific research institutions, not usually smart financial planning unless you are an ultra high net worth individual, particularly passionate about funding science, in which case all power to you, but that is not a great many people in the world. Next is another effective donation at half that price point, this time €250,000 into a cultural heritage initiative or the arts. Again, not usually a smart play given the high sunk cost and a comparatively unpopular route. Options 4 and 5 are where the majority of people look. So starting with option 4 here, which are investment funds. This requires an investment of €500,000 into a non-real estate investment fund that is regulated in Portugal via the CMVM, which is the Portugal Securities Market Commission. That fund must invest at least 60% of its capital into Portuguese listed securities. This category carries a rather unique set of challenges and considerations for investors. More on that in other videos. But finally, corporate investment, also known as commercial incorporation in some places. Here, you can invest €500,000 into a well-established Portuguese company directly, and provided that that investment is used to either create 5 new jobs or maintain 10 jobs for a period of 3 years, you can qualify for the Golden Visa. Now, both of these routes, options 4 and 5, the funds and the corporate investment, are proving immensely popular recently. Why? Essentially because they offer more control over the investment. They offer you the ability to build cases with stronger returns, more managed risk profiles. They're also a lot more passive than the job creation route. So this is where we at Holborn tend to focus most of our attention. And depending on the investment selected, this can have a big impact on the capital required to access the Portugal Golden Visa. Now, as it stands here in mid-2025, these are the capital entry points for the various investment options available with us here at Holborn. If your capital is limited to €250,000, I'm afraid your only option will be the donation to cultural heritage, as we've just mentioned. Other options can make use of reinvested upfront income to access a €500,000 investment in line with Golden Visa program rules at a lower price point. Now, what does that actually look like in practice? Well, next level down, €325,000. You can access an investment with this amount of capital that has a fixed exit at €375,000. So a fixed total profit of €50,000. Stepping up by moving down the slide at either €349,000 or €399,000, you can access an investment with a fixed exit at €500,000. The key difference here between the 349 option and 399 option is a loan arrangement that reduces the initial capital required, but that must, of course, be repaid during the term. So this reduces the profitability of the 349,000 option down versus the 399,000 euro option. Now, speaking frankly, there is too much information to explore here in today's video. We cannot do a deeper dive in the time that we have unless we want to make this video hours long. So I suggest that you take a look at the other videos on this channel to understand these options in greater detail, if these thresholds are sort of the sweet spot of what you're looking to deploy for your Golden Visa journey. Now, I will place links to relevant videos in the description box down below my head. If you want to move above, or if you can move above those capital levels, the full 500,000 euros will be required. And for that, you can go into any number of investment funds for the Portugal Golden Visa and the other options that exist in the space. Now, the best way to understand the right investment option for you would be to book in a free one-to-one call with yours truly to explore your objectives, circumstances, the most suitable cases that are available to you. Once again, I've placed a meeting booking link in the description box, once again, down below my head. Feel free to book in for a chat if you'd like to say hello, and we can go through this topic at your leisure. So by now, you should have a quite solid understanding of the Golden Visa, the new process to obtain it, the pathway to dual citizenship that it offers in 2025, also the latest context and what it is that we're looking at for the coming 12 months. So if you're ready to take the next step and start looking at investment details, then I suggest that you check out the video that is on your screen there. A word to the wise, however, before you go down this particular rabbit hole, the world of international investments can be a confusing place. It can be rather intimidating at times when you're investing abroad. There are many factors to consider before taking a decision. So what I've tried to do with the video here that's on your screen is turn it into its own dedicated presentation to give the subject some justice. It is my own video. I am quite biased, but I do believe that this is essential prior viewing for anyone contemplating investing into the Portugal Golden Visa. What we do here is we take a deeper look at the key issue of risk, the types of investment available, and how to make sure that you choose the right one for your circumstances, needs, and investor profile. The right decision here can be quite simply the difference between a life-changingly positive experience or a poor decision that can cost you financially. So make sure that you understand all the factors at play. Do yourself a favor, go and watch this video next. We'll also take a look at some featured investment cases. If you're in the market for the Portugal Golden Visa, you'll want to take a look at these cases before committing to an investment. There is a link in the top right-hand corner of your screen there. And once again, I will place a link in the description box down below my head, and you can go away and take a look at that if that's of interest to you. And just to wrap up today's session, a quick refresh on who we are. So my name's Jonathan, if you don't know me already. I'm a partner at Holborn Assets. I was fortunate enough to recently be named as our top residency and citizenship advisor. I'm backed up by a very diligent team of professionals that ensure all of our client cases are handled responsibly, reliably, professionally, and to a very, very high standard. So if you work with us, I would be your main point of contact, but there is a team of specialists working tirelessly behind the scenes. Behind me, not literally behind me, but figuratively elsewhere, to ensure essentially that everything progresses as it should. Now, my team and I, we all work under the umbrella of Holborn Assets. If you are working with us, you are working directly with the Holborn team. No agents, no middlemen, direct relationship with us. And Holborn is the #1 Golden Visa agent in Portugal based on case volume, and also the largest expat-focused wealth management firm in operation globally. We've won a great many awards at this stage. I'm very, very happy to continue saying. And you can read more about us on our Trustpilot page, where we maintain an excellent rating, 5 stars on the basis of several thousand reviews. Now, if you'd like to get in touch and see what we can do for you, feel free to book in a meeting. Again, that's with myself. You can do that using the QR code on your screen there. The meeting link is also in the description box, once again, down below my head, if that is easier for you. Or alternatively, you can also just drop me an email, and that's jonathan.ralph@holbornassets.com. And that's it for today. So thank you very much for joining me on this session. I hope the video gave you the necessary grounding that you need to understand whether the Portugal Golden Visa fits into your family's life plan. If you'd like to learn more, I would invite you to book in for a free consultation with me and my team. We'll look at your personal circumstances, run through the most suitable options in the market for your needs. We are the #1 Golden Visa agent in Portugal, which means we do have access to exclusive investments that are only available via my team. And we also have access to preferential terms and conditions on other options that are available in the market as well. So I would strongly advise speaking to us before you move forward with any investment. You might just be surprised at what we can do for you. Consultations are free. Book into my diary directly using the QR code on your screen there, or the booking link, which is in the description box down below. And if you're watching this on a mobile phone, that's where you'll need to go. Just scroll down. There should be a video that will be appearing shortly in the white box to the right of my head. This video will take you through to a practical investment case. It will be our most popular currently available investment case. So for an example of the type of work that we do on the investment side and how this is arguably better than the other options available in the market, at least in my opinion, click that video, give that a watch. I'm sure you'll find it very interesting indeed. However, for now, thank you very much for watching. I hope this session was helpful to you. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.